What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the second album by R&B singer T-Pain. Basically, this project is called Epiphany, and it came out in the late spring of 2007. The thing about this particular project is T-Pain followed this project up relatively quickly from his hit album from late 2005, Rapid Turn Singer, which was a relative smash. Had some big singles on there like In Love with a Stripper and I'm Sprung, some of those type pitches, but it didn't quite get as serviceable with like the third single. It was the least attempted with like the third song like Studio Love as far as a pitch can happen, but it just didn't have that much chart appeal. I think there was like a remix with Lil Wayne that was attempted as well that didn't chart much heavier. But this was basically one of T Pain's biggest albums, and this is one that cemented him as like a go-to R&B hook artist as far as pitches like that kind of happen. He was all over the place with rap songs and pitches like that, contemporary pop radio pitches like that, with like his hooks from 2007, including some hits like DJ Khaled's I'm So Hood and some of those type ones, Plies' Shoddy, some of those type ones in particular. Basically just had the Midas touch throughout 2007, 2008, and early 2009 as far as pitches like that kind of happened. But this particular second album here was a pretty good smash. This had T-Pain's first #1 single on it with Buy You a Drink, was a huge hit in the first half of 2007. Definitely a pretty big deal of a song. Was a surprising snap rap type song that worked pretty well. T-Pain apparently, I learned years later that T-Pain wasn't too big a fan of like snap rap as far as pitches like that happened. He at least did it, but it's just kind of the concept. It was just kind of a one shot of this particular album, but it is one of the biggest songs off here. But this still has some really great commercial appeal as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Lots of good Apple kind of summer melodies, and this is almost like a Tupac like kind. This particular album is almost like a Tupac like kind of thug life R&B type album as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Definitely some thug passion kind of summer energy as far as pitches like that kind of happen. There's some songs on here with some good Apple pitch like Yo Stomach, 69, some of those type ones. Buy You Drink, Bartender, some of those type pitches, Tipsy, just a lot of these summer bounce type ones that just have a lot of affability. But there is like a overlaying theme off this particular project. It does have some relative realness factor about it. It's not all just hop and bop kind of thrills as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Originally, I almost thought this was like a concept album just because the concept of HIV is prevalent on this particular project at least a couple of times, or at least some real talk type songs have like the product of just the after effects of too much partying as far as pitches like that kind of happen, which is a differential tone from like most normal R&B as far as pitches like that kind of happen as far as contracting like STDs and some of those type pitches. Just would have to say I don't think it's like the main theme off this particular product, but it does pop up just to kind of say as like a relative, just kind of as far as like a demon on your shoulders, like a reminder to kind of say just get crunk, but not too super crazy as far as pitches like that kind of happen just within an R&B type tone. So it's a pretty good pitch to kind of get that. But this is an Apple type one. This is another classic for T-Pain. I definitely would have to say it's definitely one of his biggest albums. But then I really thoroughly enjoyed Rapid Turn Sing as well. I gave that album a 10. This one's definitely going to get a Raven classic score, and I suspect that Three Rings is also going to as far as pitches like that kind of happen. This album had 3 singles. Most of them did pretty well, or at least the first 2 did. The third single, Church, was at least attempted, but it was kind of here and there, but still pretty damn good song. I'd have to say I am going to recommend that one. So we'll go ahead and talk about the singles here. Yeah, basically, there's a lot to talk about on this particular album, so we're going to get towards it. So basically, the first single is Buy You a Drink, Shoddy Snap, and this is a pretty huge song here. #1 single. It's like a classic kind of snap rap dance club heater. I would definitely have to say is like a hooky and connecting kind of groove that this song particularly kind of has, and this is like some late night breezy kind of 2000s bops to kind of get here. Definitely pretty Apple type one. Love the Young Jock feature on here. It's just a good combination. Young Jock and T-Pain really nailed this one. Just some Apple type tones. Real good kind of. It's a real good kind of Apple dance bounce for like some 2000s R&B as far as pitches like that kind of happened before like Spotify and like more streaming type affability as far as pitches like that kind of happen. This is just a real good contemporary type one to kind of get just some real in your face type dance grooves that just has a lot of good affability towards it. Just a real overall connecting type one to kind of get here. Some great summer energy and spring energy, I definitely have to say. Bartender's a pretty nice one. This has Akon on there. This is pretty good pitch. Classic Akon and T-Pain type team up. I'd have to say this is another relatively huge hit. This is like a top 5 single on the Billboard 100 back in the day. So this is a great 1-2 punch to get these songs. Both these are drinking songs that work pretty damn well. I'd have to say I almost think that Tipsy should have been a single as well as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Probably would have been a better choice than Church, but it works pretty well. So Bartender's like a woozy and excellent kind of drinker's anthem. I would definitely have to say this definite excellent drinker's anthem follow-up single. I'd have to say in particular. It's like a mellow kind of summer vibe, but it's a hot ticket hit, I would definitely suppose. It's pretty Apple type 1. Akon fits on the song despite the fact that he's not a drinker as far as pitches like that kind of have him is still pretty nice one to kind of get here. Do appreciate the relative kind of lambit and steadfast type energy just in an R&B type sense. Just some good bar hopping type tunes and just relative malaise. I mean, this is a song you can get tore up to. It's definitely a relative dance craze, not as big of a dance song as like Buy You a Drink, I would have to say. It has a little bit of wooziness. It's more of like a mid-pace kind of slow jam, I'd have to say. Just a good concept kind of have that, but it is a pretty smash hit. I like the fact that T-Pain, this definitely improved that T-Pain was able to get the hits and just had like a pretty good bag of tricks as far as that particular kind of happens. This is like some excellent type stuff to kind of get here. Different tone from Buy You a Drink, like I was saying, good concept, but it just really has the affability of being like some good weekend energy and just hooky and melodic type tones to kind of get. Real nice one. Church was the third single. It's too bad that this song didn't chart better. This is a pretty nice bopish type one. It's a different kind of tone for T-Pain, but it worked pretty well. This is like an offhanded and underappreciated T-Pain dance club noise of a song I'd have to say in particular. Kind of has some reggaeton type vibes. It barely feels like a T-Pain song, I had to say in particular. It just feels like someone else in particular, just some sort of different R&B type artist, but it's a ruffled mood kind of hit. So this one's kind of more in like a bad mood. I think I remember saying this on like the T-Pain Greatest Hits album Happy Hour that I reviewed back in late 2022, but the concept about this just in particular is just a pretty good tone to kind of get this just on a relative kind of bad day, pitches like that, this work sucked or pitches like that, someone pissed you off, some of those type tones just kind of be able to have. Dance, I would actually say this is more dance floor type energy, just the concept of this, the standard, like when you see in the movies, just dance club fights and some of those type pitches. Is that dance drama as far as pitches like that kind of happen. It's just the concept to kind of get some of that as far as that particular kind of goes. But church is some good turn up for some evenings out. It's a pretty rickety type one, I'd have to suppose. It's a real kind of raw type song to kind of get just a real complete tone and differential type. It's a real differential type tone and delivery from Bartender and Buy You a Drink. I think that's partially the reason why this song didn't chart as heavily. It's just a complete offhanded type one compared to the other two ones. I would definitely have to say it's a good hit. It's a good one to round out this particular product, but it's just a little bit more offhanded than the rest of these singles on here. I really think it should have been Tipsy. That should have been the third single, and then this that should have been I think Church should have been like the distant fourth single. But for what it was, it's at least a decent attempt. But I would say it's about 2.5 out of 3. It's still a song I recommend, but it's just the bastard song out of the singles off this project. But yeah, this album is a classic. I'm gonna go ahead and say that this album's gonna get a 10 out of 10. So out of 19 songs on here, basically there's 19 songs on this particular album on the version on Spotify as far as pitches like that kind of happen, which as the two songs Calm the Fuck Down and Let the Bass Drop, which are some dope songs I do recommend finding and locating, like the deluxe edition, whether it's the iTunes edition or you can get it on CD. But basically the only two songs I don't recommend on here would just be Tallahassee Love, the first song you hear, and then Right Hand, both of which are just kind of, like I would have to say about Tallahassee Love, I just really didn't appreciate the production for that one. It was just kind of an amalgamated mess that just didn't really suit the rest of the album as far as pitches like that kind of went. It's just kind of a poor rendition of something like California Love, some of those type fairs. Just didn't really pull out the vibes that well. And then Right Hand was just kind of a more insular type one, just more homely type one that just didn't really have the appeal. This is one of those real talk type songs. There's a lot of these songs on here. Sounds Bad, Right Hand, a little bit of Suicide, some of those type ones. I want to say there's another one. Time Machine is relatively like that, but it just has a slicker vibe about pulling that particular style off as far as pitches like that kind of happen. So there are some ones that just kind of switch up the tone as far as that would particularly kind of happen, but Right Hand just didn't pull it off nearly as well. I want to say that Calm the Fuck Down is relatively within that as well. But so yeah, there's plenty of heat off this particular product. I'm going to talk about some of these summer bopish type ones. So a real good highlight if you like songs like Church and Buy You a Drink and Bartender, the singles definitely. I would probably immediately go for Tipsy. This is like the third liquor type song to kind of get on here. And like I said, this probably should have been a single, but it wasn't. But this is still a pretty nice bopish type one. It's like a dreary but satisfying Get Crunk ladies gem, I'd have to say in particular. It's like some easygoing kind of bar hopping, I would definitely have to say. And it's like some summer evening heat, and this is a pretty melodic bop, so it's definitely a pretty nice one. Do appreciate the appeal. Typical and vintage T-Pain as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Just real nice melodies and just pitches like that. Just some good summer Tupac, Thug Life, Thug Passion type tones as far as pitches like that kind of go, just within an R&B type sense. And the auto-tune on here just works to like the extent behind it. I know folks nowadays it's because auto-tune pops up so much because the auto-tune pops up so much post like 2013, 2014, this feels like it's overused nowadays, but this was definitely pretty This is definitely relatively this was more than relatively state of the art back in 2007 as far as pictures like that kind of went. This is like some R&B staple type stuff that just had a lot of appeal towards it. Some good bops gonna get here. Just some good kind of contemporary R&B. T-Pain was doing a lot for R&B around this time in 2007. Definitely had the Midas touch with songs like this. Backseat Action with Sean is a pretty nice one. It's like a malaise and kind of soggy R&B out and about, I would have to say in particular. It's like some Summer Dreer, and it's kind of an in motion kind of late day pastimes about this song, I would definitely have to say. It's a pretty candid type song. Just appreciate the quick times of this particular one. It's a good concept, kind of have like some car traverse and activity as far as pictures like that kind of go. Good ladies bounces, an up tempo type one with some snap at it, contemporary type gem to kind of have for some more is overall quicker and riveting pace as far as like the contemporariness of it kind of goes. That's a good bop to kind of have. This really has some good balmy energy about it that works pretty well. It's another Thug Life type one. These are some immediate ones to kind of go for, like I was saying, just to list some of these. Another one with like that relative tone is Yo Stomach. This is like a standout kind of R&B bounce. I would have to say about this one in particular. It's like a basic kind of end of work shift sunsetting of a song, I had to suppose. Some Good Times Looming, I would definitely say about this one. It would be Some Good Times Looming, I would definitely say about this one. It's like a Gab song and some vanilla chill type music to kind of get here. For this one, there are some songs like Yo Stomach. It's pretty basic bop for that. I would also say Put It Down's a pretty nice one for that. And then there's probably at least one other one like Show You How, some of those type ones that just kind of have like some Gab type songs, some basic kind of cell phone chat type music, just kind of kick back and just shoot the moon. So pitches like that as far as that particular kind of goes. The standard Gab and game type songs kind of get just a good concept, just with them like some R&B haze, good concept. 69 is a pretty nice one. This is like an evening turn up and excitement. I would definitely feel like about this one. It's pretty similar to Yo Stomach and Put It Down. I would definitely have to suppose with like some mid pace kind of percolate type vibes that I suppose. Relative kind of modest dance type song. There's not a ton of real dance craze type ones. That's one thing about T-Pain on this particular project. It has a lot of good balmy summer energy, I would definitely have to say, but compared, like I feel like Backseat Action is kind of like some mid-pace kind of dance energy, but it's more car centric. I feel like Tipsy is kind of more bar hopping, like Bartender. Buy You a Drink is definitely like the biggest dance song on here. I'd say 69 is pretty close. I would definitely have to say Shatas is a relative dance type one on here, but for the most part, there's just not a ton of real kind of riveting kind of turn up energy. And it's kind of, I don't want to say it's a full blown disappointment, but it's just kind of the concept that this is a lot more of like a woozy type project more so than like a full blown kind of carnivorous type craze. I mean, I feel like, Tupac definitely had some of the riveting type ones, but this is kind of the concept that for R&B, I would say that the concept, the melodies are definitely on point on this project. The spring and summer kind of balmy energy definitely works for the fittingness of how it kind of goes. But it's just kind of the concept that the turn up is just not on as much as boisterous full display as it kind of gets to. I mean, I guess Church is another one. I would say Church and Shatas are two dance club type ones, but they just have like a more reggaeton type tone compared to Buy You a Drink. So if you really are looking for another song like Buy You a Drink, it just doesn't really have that on full display. But 69 would be one of the closer ones that attempts that. It's some relative good turn up, but it's still pretty modest compared to like the throw in and just affable snap of Buy You a Drink. Show You How is a pretty nice one. It's like a bubbling kind of relative bounce cousin of like 2005's Dance Floor from Rapid Turn Sang. I'd have to say same relative pitch. This is kind of like a dance club bop, just in a vanilla sense. It's like some basic kind of vanilla dance club energy, I'd have to say about this one. Standard Thursday, Friday nights and pitches like that. This basic bop that T-Pain would kind of do in like the mid 2000s. It's a good concept, kind of get some of these. Kind of an ignored song the more I think about it, just within the concept of it. Some basic kind of outing energy and just overall snap as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Underappreciated, but this kind of concept that just kind of feels here and there. It is a good one, but just kind of more seldom seen, I'd have to suppose about it. Pretty affable highlight on here, and another one that's underappreciated, but a pretty nice one. This has a lot of good tones about it. Is Time Machine. It's like a dredgy kind of evening ruminating of a song, I'd have to say in particular. It's like a melodic kind of makeshift commerce. I would definitely feel like another good Traverse type one, pretty similar to like Suicide, I'd have to say in particular. This is like some in between kind of summer hazer of a song, I'd have to say about this one. It's a pretty catchy gem, I'd have to suppose. So this one is the concept of talking about times are bad, wanting to go back in time and go back to some better times as far as pitches like that can happen. This is like a sort of song that Tupac would kind of make, this kind of reflecting like the sort of moments like life goes on and some of those type tones. It's an affable type one, T-Pain kind of doing that relative pitch as far as trying to get some of that. Pretty candid and melodic type one, just some standard evening work shift as far as that would particularly kind of happen. Just good dredginess about that one. Real nice bop on here in like a slow jam type sense is Let the Bass Drop. This is definitely worth investing in like the Deluxe edition or the iTunes edition just to get this song. It's a pretty nice one. It's like a hazy kind of summer after hours kind of ambience, I would say, about this song in particular. It's like some steamy kind of chill vibe enjoyment. I would definitely have to suppose. Good hangout type song. This Spotify type music before Spotify as far as pitches like that kind of happen. It's a real good slow jam. This is a nice slow jam, but it's not a ballad, I would have to say. So it's a good concept, kind of get some slow jams that are not ballads, just a differential type concept, real good kickback that T-Pain proves that he's a pretty good pro at some of these R&B type jams as far as pitches like that kind of happen. I mean, for the most part, when you think of T-Pain, you think of like the auto-tune, the vocoder, like pitches like that, songs like Buy You Drink and In Love with the Stripper, some of those type songs, and Can't Believe It with Lil Wayne, some of those type ones. But it is a good concept to say that he can do slow jams as far as pitches like that kind of happen. So this is an example of that. Calm the Fuck Down is pretty nice one. It's another good standard hit off the deluxe edition. It's like a throwback kind of R&B hop and bop type song, I'd have to say. It's like a very similar to like I'm Sprung type vibes about this particular song. I'm Sprung, the lead single off of Rapid Turn Sing, I'd have to say. There's like some summer late day drew, I'd have to say about this one. So it's just basically like it's like a spiritual sequel, pseudo sequel to I'm Sprung's first pitch, like that kind of having same tone, same sort of vibe, same overall pitch, and same sort of cadence about it. Just a little bit of bickering type on this particular one. Good concept, kind of have some of that relative pitch about it. Just some good balmy kind of summer late day drear. Suicide is a pretty nice one. This is like a malaise kind of evening dredge of a song I'd have to say about it in particular. It's like a change of pace from like the typical R&B cadence I would definitely feel as far as pitches like that kind of go. It's like some moody kind of real talk song I just would feel about this one. It's a pretty strong overall vibe this song particularly kind of gives. Just talking about the concept. The song before this is I Got It, which is not really a song, but just talking about the chick on the song that's in the relationship with the guy on the song on Suicide is gets HIV as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Just dealing with the concept of contracting HIV or other STDs as far as pitches like that kind of go. Relative pitch, just the standard drew and just kind of a more malaise type one, just with like some poor forecast, just pitches like that. Just a good, I mean, it is a serious topic, but it's just within the tone of just like some relative kind of dredge, just to kind of has like a different kind of change of pace. This really has some affable spark for like T-Pain's songwriting as far as pitches like that kind of go. I mean, this happens to be a pretty affable type one for like a change of pace from like the normal kind of hop and bop or more summer, this raucous and raw type energy as far as pitches like that kind of goes. So it's not just strictly for STD, just the relate, this full blown hands-on relation to like the song topic of that. Say it's just an overall affable type one, just for bad days as far as pitches like that kind of go. Shatas is a pretty nice one. It's like a jazzy and electric kind of dance ripper. I would definitely say about this one. It has similar vibes to Church. I would definitely feel like same sort of tone and overall pace as that one. This is like some riveting turn up, I would have to say, and it's like a reggaeton kind of heater. So it's a good concept. Cardinal Official is on here and Camera on here. I think some of those type folks were signees to like T-Pain, Snappy Boy Entertainment as far as pitches like that kind of happen. I would also have to say that Shauna was on Backseat Action, which was a pretty good pitch. It's too bad that Shauna never put out an album or a mixtape on T-Pain's label, because originally she was going to do some of that. Tay Dism, who I haven't reviewed in a couple of years, is on Yo Stomach, which is a pretty good pitch. Do you like the concept of that? He was a T-Pain affiliate that was pretty much next in line. He almost dropped an album, but didn't. I'm going to have to get to some more of his projects. It's too bad that Akon wasn't on this project a lot more. He was at least on a single, but he definitely needed to be on this project more like he was on Rapid Turn Sanga. But Put It Down is a pretty nice R&B song. It's like a basic and vanilla R&B chatty after hours kickback of a song I have to say in particular. It's like some balmy kind of summer pastiming, I would have to say, and it's like a sip something and kind of gap type song to kind of get here. Definitely works with like Show You How and Yo Stomach 69, some of those type ones I'd have to say as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Just some good affable type spark to kind of have for some of these. Is basic kind of cell phone type music, R&B drew as far as pitches like that kind of go. Standard chattiness just within the aspect of it. Just flirty type vibes just within the summer. Just balminess as far as pitches like that would kind of happen. Do appreciate some of these. Just kind of the concept of just basic back and forth. It's real good summer type energy and just overall heat as far as pitches like that kind of go. But once again, I feel like this album needed more moments like Buy You Drink. Just something that could have been like another relative smash, even if it wouldn't have been released as a single. Just something on the relative pitch, like the energy of something like Shatas or Church with like the overall snap and radio appeal of like Buy You a Drink probably would have been better, because I feel like this is a good album, but it's just kind of here and there. Just the approach and the overall execution. I'll talk about sounds bad, but I do want to say the overall execution of this particular product is not so much that it's clumsy, but it is kind of more sprockety, I'd have to say, just within the concept of this. I feel like there's a lot of amalgamation going along. There's more songwriting on this particular one and more concepts that are kind of thrown on here. It's just kind of a differential type project that tries a lot of ideas, where I feel like Rapid Turn Sang was a little bit more amalgamated and had like the bops on here just for more turn up. Like you would get songs like Dance Floor In Love with the Stripper, Studio Love, and a little bit of I'm Sprung, songs like some of those type ones. I know there's some other ones like Going Through a Lot, some of those type pitches, just more than 6 or 7 type songs, just with like some relative dance bounce and overall step out type energy. But this one's a little bit more kind of not necessarily steadfast with the this album has more shreds of refrain about just the relative kind of sheer turn up. I mean, it's more consolidated this time, and the turn up that is on here, the melodies are better this time. The summer energy is definitely there. It's more vicious this time. This is the concept. There's just less of it to go around. I definitely feel like I remember when I would listen to this album back in the day. I would, the songs I found more interesting were songs like Tipsy, Buy You a Drink, 69, Yo Stomach, some of those type ones. But I realized, I kind of looked after the concept as to how many full blown heaters were kind of on this product, and I realized that it was only like 4 or 5 compared to like 9 or 10 or 11 pitches like that. But this is a classic album. I just gotta say it's gonna get a 10 out of 10. Just more varietized and just a little bit, yeah, just more kind of back and forth, just more songwriting wise. Sounds Bad is the almost song on here. This is another nice one. This is a pretty good pitch of this one. This is like a vanilla kind of R&B makeshift Dave Farrow. I would have to say about this one in particular. It's like some Traverse Noise and Aaron's product. I would definitely have to say about it. It's like a simple kind of lace up type song. It's like some good simple lace up type melodies kind of get on here. Basically, this one for like the steadfast work shift is pitched like that. If you got some stuff to do, bills to pay, some of that type fare, just get the lace things up, cross the T's, dot the I's as far as pitches like that kind of happen. I just would have to say, but it's a good relative concept. I mean, the reason why this song's an almost song is just because of the fact that it's just if you're not kind of more Aaron type mode and just out and about, get some stuff done type mode, just with the more bustle type sense and just industrial type sense, it doesn't have as much appeal. I'd say it's just a concept. It's a necessary song, but the overall addictiveness of it is not as full blown. It's just kind of one that's just here for when you need it, but it's not really as much full blown essential. But this album still gets the 10 out of 10. I still do halfway recommend this song. It's a pretty good pitch. So 10 out of 10 score. The social score, I'm going to go ahead and give like a 9.5 out of 10 because I feel like this is very affable type pitch. This is T-Pain in its prime. Has a lot of great songwriting on here. Some good hits on here. Definitely some affable type ones like some of the ones I listed first in terms of like the album cuts. Songs like Tipsy, 69, Yo Stomach, Backseat Action, some of those type ones. Even some relative good bounce and malaise about some songs like Time Machine and some of those type ones. Some real talk type songs like Suicide, some cell phone and just overall chatty type songs, some Apple Gab type songs like Show You How and Put It Down, some of those type ones, a little bit of Yo Stomach, some of those type ones I just would have to say. But I just feel like the overall electricity, like this album definitely has some blistering melodies and overall songwriting. It's just kind of the concept. I just feel like in terms of like a dance club type hit and just the overall best moments of energy, it almost leads this project to just be mostly about the singles just because I look after it, the energy, pretty much the overall this hand over fist best song on this album, just in terms of the affability and snap, would probably have to be Buy You a Drink, and that's just the rightful type one. Bartender is a pretty excellent follow up, but it doesn't have like the same vicious kind of energy. It's just a more woozy type one. There's just really not any songs on this album that compare to Buy You a Drink and just overall the addictiveness. I just would have to say Church. It's not necessarily a clumsy third single, but it's just kind of an offhanded type one that's just a little bit more abrasive just within the pitch. It's a good song, but it just feels more of like a hardcore type hit that not too many folks would really go for that one as far as pitches like that kind of happen. There's just not, like I was saying, just not really any dance club smashes like there were as much in a more full blown display on like Rapid Turns Thing. I feel like if you had to choose one of the albums, I'd probably say this might be the more balmy kind of thug life summer energy album to get on here, but it just has less dance club snap and overall night energy and just overall flash and social pizzazz compared to Rapid Turn Saying. That one's the more boisterous type one, despite the fact that this does a better job of delivering the hits on here, or at least delivering the quality. That is, Rapid Turn Saying it has more hits, but this album just does it better. So it's just kind of the concept about this, just the thing about it, but it's just how it particularly kind of goes. So yeah, the social score gets a 9.5 out of 10. In terms of the future, like T-Pain has put out some products. He put out like a cover album. T-Pain put out like a cover album in like the winter of 2023, which is a pretty good pitch. He said he was working on like a sequel to that, and I know he put out an album in like 2021 or 2019, some pitches like that. So we're gonna have to get some more of these. I definitely want to review Three Rings and some of his mixtapes like Pre-Volver and some of those type pitches and Stoic. We're definitely going to get to some of those as far as pitches like that can happen. But this is a classic album. Like I was saying, it gets a 10 out of 10. I mean, it's real. It has like it's not necessarily underhanded. I feel like the singles are definitely some of the monolith moments. There are some other gems on here within a mostly relative sense. It's a classic album just to say that, but it just has more vibrant kind of songwriting just within a relative kind of more this kind of more varietized type sense, more so than the full blown dance bounce and social night outing of like Rapper Turn Sing. I feel like, but still a pretty good concept. So this is a classic here, R&B classic. Definitely say that. It's just kind of just understand some of the critique I've said.